You first, then you.
You want me first, do you? Hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's Bristol Vikings. Myself, Dan, and Craig here. How's everyone? How are you, Craig? More importantly,
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad considering the heat. I'm dealing with it pretty well, to be honest. I thought I'd be
mate,
suffering a lot, but
a nice shine on your head already.
it's finally polished.
Finally.
To be honest, I've actually I got this week off. Funny enough, so I've kind of really haven't done a great deal, so I've managed to avoid the heat as such. But I mean, yesterday I thought it was a good idea to go in the loft, and I put my head up through the hatch, and I just went no, because it was like a different country up there. It was so hot. But yeah, no, I'm dealing with it. Right, how about yourself? How are you dealing with it?
Oh, it's been sweaty. I mean, at the place we work at in the hospital, we have nice. I don't know what kind of fabric they are, but they're nice thick tunics, so it is hot.
Aircon's on overdrive at work, I expect.
100%, and it's still just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's gross. It's only going to get hotter. So, guys, welcome back. Yes, like Dan said, we've got a few things we're going to talk about today, as per. But I'll let Dan go first again. I might like to let Dan go first. So,
You want me to go first, do you?
yeah,
Okay.
go on. You talk about your subject first.
I'm going to chat about a little
say
bit
your
of
neat sweets.
Uber. Pardon?
I'll say your neat sweets.
You chomp on them little sweets like that little
A bit of ASMR.
So I'm going to chat about basically Uber lobbying. I think they call it officially lobbying politicians.
Right.
So I'm not sure. Have you seen any of this in the news this week?
Yeah, I did look at when you mentioned it. I looked into it because I was. I remember when they first came over, and there was a lot of like uproar with the black taxi drivers, black cab drivers.
Yeah.
And I remember them, kicking off a little bit, but I didn't realise how far it went.
No. So I think there's been a lot of papers that have been released, and to the extent of how much they were sort of chatting to people. So the ones mentioned, I think, in the leaks is Macron, the French. Is it Prime Minister they have, or whatever? I don't know if they have a Prime Minister or whatever. And the former Chancellor, George Osborne. Essentially, they were bedazzled by the Uber team and tried to basically change regulation in their favour. Yeah. So imagine you're sort of a self-employed black cabbie basically getting shafted.
Yeah, by a multi-million-pound company that's coming over and just gone, we'll work here for a bit.
We'll work here for a bit, and I think one of the things they were trying to get rid of is, or not trying to get rid of, but sweeping under the covers. Did you hear about this? Obviously, some of the Uber drivers were obviously raping and sexually abusing a lot of their passengers.
Jesus.
So it's sort of, yeah. So they were kind of, because obviously it was ruining their image. Again, they were sort of going to politicians and not asking them, but just like trying to get them to sweep it under the rug, from my understanding. And again, changing regulation. I know in Paris, I think he sent an email after he'd seen Macron. I think he sent to his sort of a lobbyist sent to his staff. Oh, we're going to be dancing. We're going to be that rich. We're going to be dancing. So there's all backhand. Well, I say there's all backhanders, but you never know.
Thing is, that's another subject, but I think the whole politician business is all bent anyway.
Well, yeah,
it's all just money
definitely.
making now,
I think what surprises me is just how, I'm trying to think of the words now. Everything's stacked against us. You know what I mean? It's just what lengths people will go through, and just how all the politicians just basically live for themselves.
Yeah. What was
sorry.
I was looking into. I was reading into the Uber stuff. I can't remember what I remember reading. I was going to say something about it because it went to the cabinet at one point, didn't it?
Yeah. So.
Hello.
Sorry, Chad. You gonna chat? Are you gonna chat?
I thought I lost you then.
No. So yeah, so like I said, it wasn't just like a bunch of newbies they were chatting to. They were chatting to, like I said, Macron, who's the French president or prime minister or whatever they have. I can't remember. You know, people in high places basically giving them advice. I think is that what we're going to use? Giving them advice.
What, political advice.
Political advice, and I think even trying to change legislation to make it in more favour of Uber's bottom line.
All just so they can get a percentage of their profits, I guess.
Yep, got to keep them shareholders happy.
It's mad, isn't it? It's crazy.
Like I said, just go to show the system's against you, isn't it?
Yeah. Unless you're a multi-millionaire, billionaire, you've got no chance, really, have you?
Yeah. Unless you're, like I say, a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah. Because didn't they have problems in America as well? Wasn't that the reason
I think they did. Yeah.
They came over?
So, you know, like a lot of local, I mean, I'm not sure about America, but in the UK, do you know, a lot of towns, they basically requiring Uber to have licenses, weren't they? Like specific licenses so they could operate in that city.
Yeah.
So like they're obviously lobbying the government to say, "Oh, can you get rid of these licenses?" So trying to just step around the system.
So glad I don't use Uber. Wow. No, I don't actually. I used to use Uber for takeaways and stuff, but
well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, convenience. Everyone wants it to be convenient and fast.
Convenient. And that's one of the reasons why they reckon, one of the reasons is because they were basically making so much profit and whatnot. It's the taxes. So obviously, taxes. The companies profits aren't going to get taxed, but tax from the workers. Well, they're not workers, are they? They don't have workers. They have, what do they call them? Like, they're contractors, aren't they?
I suppose technically they're self-employed, aren't they?
Technically they're self-employed, so obviously they get tax from the self-employed people, but they don't get any tax from the bloody corporation tax or anything, I imagine. Admittedly, I don't know what Uber's...
not too familiar on the legal side of it. But
wouldn't surprise me.
Dodgy dealings going on somewhere. Well, there always is. There's always back doors that people are trying to use and stuff.
Yeah. This is all alleged, of course. This is all alleged.
This is you getting a fucking lawsuit.
This is all allegedly.
Black envelope come through the door. Mr. Purdy, we would advise you to stop talking about Uber. You will be taken away and put into a prison in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, God, no. Get a bloody Guantanamo Bay, isn't it?
Yeah. You just disappear.
Disappear.
Man.
What have you got then for me, Chad? What are you going to want to discuss?
It's probably... there's nothing in particular I want to talk about with this subject. It's just I want to just kind of talk about this subject because it's something, obviously, people that know me know I'm quite an avid car fan and I like my cars and stuff to do with them. And the way the world's going is everything's becoming more economic. Obviously, you're having to think about fuel prices as well as anything else now, which is dawned on us in the last few months. So I was going to talk about the whole electric car sort of industry and how everything's kind of building around that and if that's the right way we should be going. I know that a lot of people have mixed feelings. Something that I definitely noticed as soon as I moved here is that pretty much this whole street, everyone has electric cars.
Really?
So there's me with my 3.5 litre V6 out there that starts up and everyone else goes as they're driving around.
Yeah, are they seriously on electric?
That neighbour, he has a Golf, but the people over have a Peugeot electric thing, and then the people over there have a Tesla, and they've all got one of the guys got an what do you call it? Bollocks. What are they called? Caravan on wheels. You can drive. Winnebago?
Transporter.
A Winnebago, is that one? Like
That's a massive American thing, isn't it?
Rosa says RV, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But I mean, I was just thinking to this earlier today because I was watching videos on YouTube and stuff. I was just seeing how much the electric cars are starting to heavily influence everybody now, and how people are a little bit blind to the truth, and the fact that they think having an electric car makes them more economic and better for the environment, but there's a lot more energy and resources that goes into making an electric car than there is for a petrol car, because it's the manufacturing of all the electronics and stuff and the batteries, because obviously once the batteries are done you just have to throw them away, you can't recycle them or anything.
Now, I thought I saw a statistic, and I could be wrong on this, that to recoup the carbon dioxide it takes to produce the car, is it like 30 years or something?
It's something. It is something. So this, I think someone did this. He looked into this and did all the stats and stuff. There's someone online that's obviously you can find a document that tells you all this information. That would be a lot more accurate than I am. But I know that they said like if you go out and buy yourself a Ford Focus, in 5 years, paying for the tax, you would have paid off whatever carbon dioxide that was produced in the factory for it. But they said when it comes to electric cars, you don't pay tax anyway because they're electric, but you pay for, well, there is the tax that you pay for a brand new car, but I know the government's supposed to be subsidising that or something. But it would take, yeah, like you said, I think it does take a lot longer to pay off the damage that is caused making that car, and then obviously shipping it over and all this sort of stuff that is involved. I think it was aimed at Tesla in particular.
No, because they're sort of the biggest car manufacturer. Well, biggest electric car manufacturer. Yeah.
You know, when you think electric cars, you think instant, but because they were like the people that kind of, what's the word? I can't think of words today. It's just another shit.
Well, they made it mainstream, didn't they?
Yeah.
Tesla.
Yeah.
Elon Musk. He made cars cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And he invested the money and stuff. But I don't want to talk about Tesla too much because obviously we got that. Just we're having a guest come on and we're going to talk about that sort of thing because he's a Tesla fan. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the whole electric car and see how you feel about them. See what your opinion is, and everybody is. If there's anyone that's watching, I think Rose is still watching. What their opinions are, and yeah, share my opinion, kind of. So. I am slowly swaying towards an electric car, and I understand the conveniences of them. And I know that eventually it's 2030, I think it is, everyone should have an electric car or have a car that is.
Are they banning? Yeah, what's the rules in the UK? Are they banning all? Well, I think are they banning all diesels? I'm not sure if they're necessarily banning petrols. Definitely they're banning all diesels, aren't they?
Yeah, there is definitely something happening with diesels. I think what they're going to do is they're going to slowly filter through
banning all new diesel cars, isn't it?
Yeah, the production of diesel cars will be banned. I think that's happening earlier. I think that's 2025. I think is when all production diesels will be stopped, or around that sort of time. But most manufacturers will probably stop it before anyway because they realise they're not making money. And then eventually it'll filter through to petrol cars, and then we'll all be driving around in G-Whizzes. Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, over the last couple of years, I watch a lot of YouTube stuff about cars, as everybody who knows me would know. I'm a little bit obsessed with them. I probably do annoy a few people. I am seeing cars that I'm swaying towards, and I mean, they're getting better. They are getting better. I do think we need to have something that's better for the battery side of things, because the battery lifespan's only like 5 or 10 years or something in most of the cars. Yeah, which is, you don't buy a petrol car and then change the engine after 5 years, do you? So they need to sort that out, definitely, because that's not cheap either. That's like a quarter of what the price of the car is. Okay.
As I say, they're dead expensive. Now, you've probably seen this. I've seen prototypes with obviously refuelings, or I say not refueling. Recharging the batteries is obviously a massive issue, isn't it, with electric cars?
Mm.
So, have you ever seen the prototype design where rather than you sort of now you stop at a gas station or whatever and you plug it in, don't you? Or say if you're on a services on the motorway, you plug your car in, you wait an hour, and then you move on.
Mm.
I've seen concepts where rather than recharging it, they literally just replace the batteries.
Yeah. So that's actually live in Japan.
Exactly. Oh, is it?
Japan
Okay.
or Korea? It's one of the Asian countries, and they actually have. I think it might be Korea actually, but it's. I think it's Kia. I want to say it's Kia. Yeah, I think it might be. You, like you say, you drive in, you park up. You have to obviously it's a little bit more technical because you have to line the tires up and stuff. Machine comes underneath and does a couple of bolts and takes the battery out. You have to. It's. I think they're saying that's done on a prescription, like a subscription service. So you pay something every month and you get so many batteries or whatever it is. I think that's
okay.
That's probably the more sensible way of doing it. Having these batteries charged on the mass charging, and then
Yes and no. Yes, because I think practically it makes sense, but no, because what could happen is, say if your battery's less than a year old, you go in, you get a change, and you get a battery 5 years old.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, batteries degenerate after time, don't they?
Mm.
So, say if your new battery, I don't know, does say 200 miles fully charged, and then you get a new battery that only does 100 miles.
Yeah.
Whereas I know every time I fill my car up with fuel, I know it's going to do 450 or whatever it is, 500 miles. It's only a little tiny car in it with 35 litres, so it's going to do. I know every time I fill it up to the max, I know how far I'm going to go. Whereas I suppose that system is you don't know.
Rosa, to answer your question, you said what do they do with the batteries when they're taken out? They go to like a little machine underneath the place, wherever it is, and they just get recharged and charged back up for the next car that comes in, which takes about 6 hours or something like that. But they get reused. They don't get binned or anything.
No, they get reused, don't they? I've also seen designs where they actually on the motorways they'd put little. I don't know what they've actually put, but basically the chargers. So as you're driving along, it charges the battery. I'm not sure how it does it or how the technology works. I'm not sure. Have you seen it with phones now? That phones, you don't need to plug in to charge them. You can literally just leave them on something, can't you?
Yeah, with my phone, it's got it's just wireless charging, I guess. I think it's done through magnetic. Sorry, I'm just watching the cat's about to pull some out off the wall.
Excellent.
Yeah, I get rid of him. I can just see everything just going. Yeah, so what were we talking about?
Charging on the motorway.
So there was that concept for electrolysis charging. I know what you mean. It was like discs that are on the ground and they send a pulse through and it charges your battery as you're going along.
They happen like say every 100 meters or whatever, so you're constantly charging your battery.
But I always thought that was a bad thing to do to a battery, to be constantly charging it.
That's one of the issues.
Yeah,
it's a bad thing.
It's balancing it, isn't it? It's getting the proper answer, I think. So the main reason I want to talk is because there is, although people don't want this, I think there is an answer, and I think it's probably going to be hydrogen. I think that's the next thing that's going to come in. The downside to hydrogen is that it costs so much. It costs a lot more to make than an electric car because you have to have platinum and stuff like that in the battery, in the cell. Because obviously it works on electrolysis.
Cobalt. Isn't it cobalt? So obviously I know they are, currently they're lithium-ion batteries from my understanding.
Yes.
So I think, like you said, battery technology needs to improve. What else was I going to say? Also, I think, accidents as well. You know, if you have an accident in an electric car, battery acid is very toxic and very dangerous. So I think there's that risk as well. And also, for the batteries, I swear I saw somewhere, obviously there's going to be a massive influx. They need cobalt. So I think they're massively short of cobalt and one of the ways to mine it, is basically at the bottom of the ocean. So I suppose if you want cobalt, do we want to be tearing up the bottom of the ocean? Or I think another popular place is, I think there's massive mines in Africa, if I remember right.
Oh, right, okay. So it'll come down to resource war eventually, won't it? It'll just be like whoever can get the resources for it.
Whoever get the resources, yeah. And I think, like you said, hydrogen is good. I think, again, from my very limited knowledge, I think obviously liquids are easier to transport. They generally contain a lot more energy because of the way the sort of molecules are. There's sort of more energy in it, and when you have a full tank, think if you put gas into a cylinder, it's pressurized. So if it's something pierces that canister, it's a lot more dangerous than a liquid that if you just pierce the canister, it will just drip out. So I think there's quite a lot of issues that they need to sort with hydrogen, that they need it in a way that is easy to transport. Because obviously if you just put a match of hydrogen, it makes water in the end, because obviously it reacts to the oxygen in the air. But you don't want cars going around with pure oxygen in them. Again, they'd be massively dangerous.
So there is a manufacturer, and I think it's Toyota. And I remember watching a video of them demonstrating their hydrogen fueled car, and they said yes, you do have these cells in the car which are full of hydrogen, which is extremely flammable. But they made the cells so strong that it took 3 shots from a 50 cal, I think it was a 50 cal bullet, before it penetrated the bottle. So they said that pretty much it's not going to be the thing that explodes when you crash your car. The only downside to that is it adds weight to the car, because obviously it's armor plating. I mean, it's early doors for hydrogen. Look at electric cars. When we were talking about it before Elon brought out the Tesla, everyone was saying, "Oh no, it won't work because you won't be able to do this, you won't be able to do that and stuff." And there we go. We got like a 300-mile range car that can run on electric. So I mean, it is doable. And I personally think it's definitely the way forward, because of there's no bad emissions with it, and it's just using water. Well, hydrogen. You have to make hydrogen. That's the other expensive part, is producing the hydrogen.
Yeah, hydrogen. Even though it is the most abundant element in the universe, it tends to bind with things quite a lot. So actually, if they could find a cheap way of producing hydrogen, I suppose you could make cheap travel then.
Because doesn't make up for the vast majority of our atmosphere, hydrogen?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure what the percentages are. I'm pretty sure
hydrogen is like 70% or something.
Something. There's a lot of it.
Yeah, it's just getting that into a bottle.
Yeah, essentially, it's getting that into a bottle and into a usable form.
Yeah, purifying it, I guess.
Yeah,
I suppose if you think back a couple hundred years ago, they probably thought the same thing about coal and stuff like that, didn't they? They're like, how do we make this so we can burn it and use it on a steam engine, and how can we make the steam engine more efficient and stuff?
More efficient, mind you. Was it? I swear I read somewhere that they thought if you weren't over 50 miles an hour, your bloody heart would explode and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was fine. Imagine it.
Yeah.
It was at 50, I think it was, and I'm pretty sure horses. I think horses used to be faster than sort of trains at the time, didn't they? Because they were quite sort of slow and.
It's crazy when you think if you ever look into the old, like how we used to think of stuff, like, and linking it to the devil and stuff. Like the first car that did like 12 mile an hour or whatever it was, and people were like, "Oh, if you go any faster, your eyes will pop out your head," and blah, blah, and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, yeah. So I mean, I was obviously talking to Rosa because we're gonna have to do something again, an efficient car, because my car is not efficient. So once I've paid that off, I'll probably go down the electric line, or if not electric, hybrid. I expect, no, just turn into an old man and just drive around in a milk float.
Milk float, oh god. Like bloody turning the milkman like Father Ted, is it, Chud?
Yeah. Get out the way!
Get out the way!
It's a great series.
Yeah, I think for the problem, well, not the problem, but our economy is set up to be used as petrol, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's going to be obviously you need to change over, but I'm not sure how you change over without, I suppose, ripping a band-aid off and just completely changing it.
Yeah.
Because I think you either got to do it or you don't. I think when you're sort of in the middle, you don't really accomplish anything.
And the other thing is as well, is you need the companies to finance it as well. You need the big companies like Shell and that lot that do the fuel. You need them to invest into the electric and charging stations because there's that whole mileage anxiety, isn't there?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're along motorways, it's fine. But like when I went to Devon the other week, I'm pretty sure it's all petrol down there, and you don't want to get stuck down them lanes in Devon because you'd be buggered.
Well, you'd be popping to the pub and sitting there for about 6 hours whilst it's plugged into the mains charger because it takes fucking ages on a 240 volt. Yeah.
I suppose that's another thing, isn't it? If everyone's charging, I mean, they all talk about. Oh, sorry, my camera's got shy. They all talk about obviously pressures on the national grid. If you put all these, well, I suppose I'm not sure how many households there are in the UK, but if everyone had an electric car charging them every single night, is the power grid going to be able to?
Well, that's the next thing. They're on about banning people from charging their cars overnight. Oh, they were on about bringing that in, banning and stopping people from charging their cars when it's nighttime, because they're saying normally at nighttime what they tend to see is the power grid drops. And obviously everything can cool down and stuff, but at the moment, because everyone's buying electric cars and charging them all the time, there's no drop. So the power grid's constantly running. And they said that, like, it's not made to do that all the time. It's always been based on the fact that it drops, because for the last 100 years, at night, everyone tends to turn everything off.
You go to bed and go to sleep kind of thing, yeah.
And then obviously that's only going to get worse the more people that buy electric cars, so...
Yeah. So then, I mean, there is
electric prices. Yeah.
I mean, electric prices go up. There's more pressures. So, I mean, unless you build more coal stations or you build, I suppose, more nuclear power stations or wind farms or there's obviously tons of different options, isn't it? What road do you go down to?
Did I see somewhere mentioning coal? Did I see that they're on about bringing coal back?
Yeah, so they're opening a new coal mine up in is it somewhere north. I can't think where it is. I want to say Lancashire or somewhere, but I'm not sure.
Right. Is this Boris thing, is it?
Well, I think it is a Boris thing, but it won't be like coal that me and you know, because obviously they can refine coal quite a lot now.
Yeah.
They can make it more, and I could call it like third generation or whatever generation of coal it is. So they can actually make coal more refined. They can make it burn longer, more efficiently. So you don't get that nasty black smoke from it.
Your camera's lagging.
Yeah, I know, it's always lagging, bloody thing. That's why I got to get a new one.
Try just changing it and see if you can go from the flip from. Technical issues.
What use? Does that change that like that?
No.
It's turn off and on again. It always works.
It's all that pornography you watch on your phone. You've knackered the memory in it.
Knackered the memory on it. Got kids in the old slot. Right.
Yeah, that's better.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's a lot better. You were kind of like fucking jumping all around then. That's a lot better. Yeah, I did. I laughed. I chuckled to myself a little bit when I seen we're bringing coal back, and I was like, for fuck's sake.
Did your mum have coal?
My nan had coal, and I remember the guy coming around with the sacks on his back and used to chuck it in the box in the garden. Yeah. And every night you had to go in and get a bucket full.
That's it. We used to have coal, but we used to. Did the man come round? No, we used to go. Do you know what Pilning train station is? There used to be a little coal place down there. We used to go there to pick our coal.
Yeah.
Mum would chuck it on the fire.
I think we were too rural where we lived, so it came out to us in his scabby little van.
That's it.
Used to be a van.
Shouldn't get the radiate. Well, I say the heat from the Avonmouth. Like stand there in your back garden getting heated up from all the shit that comes from Avonmouth.
Oh yeah, the raw sewage. Yeah, no, I remember, Cole. But it just seems, I don't know, it just seems like we're kind of going backwards a little bit, but if it makes my electric bills cheaper, fine.
Well, yeah, isn't it? You know, that's obviously another big part of energy costs, isn't it? Is how much is levied towards green. There's like a green energy tax, isn't there? That pays for obviously subsidising wind farms and whatnot. And I know people want to get rid of that tax to bring down energy costs.
Right.
Because I'm not sure if you've had your money, you probably. But I just had some energy bill, and it's basically going to be near enough, just shy of. It was about £2,800 a year, gas and electric.
Right.
When last year it was like, I don't know what it was, just over about 1,700, I think it was. So our bills obviously jumped up massively.
I mean, we don't know yet because we've only been here a couple of months, so we can't compare it to anything. So we're kind of just expecting it to be a lot, I guess. Because this all kicked off a couple of weeks before we got our keys, so it's just kind of like,
okay.
So we're just kind of blind to it all. We just come in and just go, well, if it's that much, it's that much.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, mate, it's not like it's only obviously me and the missus, and we don't have the heating. Obviously, we don't have. Some people have heating on in the summer, don't they? Like fucking nutters.
No,
yeah, baffles me.
I mean, if I had the heating on now, I'd be dead. You'd find me.
Mate, I'll be furious. I'll be bloody furious. I'd have to remold the house.
Be listening out for the thermostat to get a click in and stuff. Like, let's turn my thermostat up.
No, so like so me and the missus were quite sort of conservative, but even then it's still a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. And how much you can do about it, unfortunately.
I can. I'll tell Janie to put loads of coats on.
Well, yeah, you should get cold and cold showers and
cold showers. That's it. Cold showers. Loads of jumpers on.
Yeah, cold tins of beans.
Probably, innit? Imagine just living off baked beans. Mind you, I'd be happy.
I don't mind cold beans, to be honest.
I don't think Jodie would be. Fucking me took my head off. Spelling my name out. Daniel.
Yeah. Rosa said, Rosa said, at least everyone's in the same boat. Yeah.
Well, that's true. You know, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Unless you get a backhander.
Yeah, unless you get the dirty toes and mixed in with the Parliament. That's going to come out before it comes down. Talking about that, actually. No, the wind's blowing the blinds and it's pushing the thing off the side. So I'll just put it down before it smashes over. Did you see the protests on the Severn Bridge the other day? The fuel ones?
Oh, the fuel protesters. Fucking magical chaos, wasn't it?
It didn't affect me, lucky enough, because I went to work and I missed it all by the time I come back. And actually, it was the easiest drive home I've had because it was so quiet because everyone was panicking about hitting it and stuff. So the motorway was empty. But I mean, I don't know. I'm still in two minds whether like protesting is really the thing anymore, whether it works.
Just annoys people, doesn't it? You know, when it was the last one, it wasn't a fuel protest. Was it Extinction Rebellion when some chap was on the way to see his dying mother and they wouldn't let him through?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably went to prison. Especially if that was the last time I was going to see my mum and dad.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. I mean, there must be something better to do. There must be a better way to do protests than blocking up everybody and pissing people off, because that's not achieving the goal they want.
No, I agree with that. It puts people off your cause, even if the cause is sort of sensible. Because I think, from what I understand, it was just putting loft insulation in houses, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
something stupid like
It was
that, like
complete
really
shambles.
simple. But because they wound everyone up so much, everyone hates them now.
Rosa said she thinks that she saw your mum and dad walking the dog the other day, or the dogs.
Oh, she probably did. They walk along the front all the time.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, she should have said hi.
She was driving along. They were coming up through Passage Road sort of area.
Yeah, that's why they do. Wait, this is Rosa. This isn't the kind of conversation we're going to be having.
This is a podcast.
Shut
up, Rosa.
Shut up, Rosa. We'll talk about the Crufts when it's on.
Yeah.
We just been so. Oh, what's happened here? What was I even chatting about?
Protesting. Loft insulation. Did you see their interviews that are on TV though? It's just they must have picked the worst person to go on TV and do the interviews.
They did.
Because every
and the funny thing is though, did you see the person? They were completely against nuclear power, and now they're a nuclear power advocate.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They actually work for a nuclear power company because as long as you actually, be honest, there's very little carbon dioxide produced in nuclear power. It's getting rid of, obviously, the fuel rod.
Yeah.
It's the nuclear waste.
It sticks around for like a couple of thousand years, doesn't it?
Well, just stick it, I don't know, 1,000 foot underground. Don't have to worry about it.
Just give it to the Russians.
You have to give it to the Russians.
Let them just blast up with it.
Novichok or whatever.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't see the point of the protests because it didn't make sense. The fuel ones didn't make sense to me because, and I mean, if this was like watched worldwide, this podcast, I'd be getting some abuse now. You're driving along in a car doing 30 mile an hour, complaining about fuel prices. You're in a car, wasting fuel, driving at 30 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Stopping everybody else's driving cars. In the wasting fuel. Where's the sense in that? You obviously got enough money to waste fuel to do that in the first place. So surely you should be on your push bike or something, shouldn't you? Or on a horse or something.
Yeah, maybe we go back to horse and cart.
Yeah.
Did you see the video? Again, I'm not sure when it was done. When the trucker's like, I just don't understand these protesters. I don't understand them. This is cooking oil.
Yeah, they're like, they're protesting because they're protesting about oil and the oil mining or something. Yeah, it's just cooking oil.
It's just cooking oil.
And then there was a shortage of fucking cooking oil there, haven't there? Oh, Jesus.
What would you do if you're a protester then? You're like, obviously they must have thought, shit, we've done the wrong oil. Do you just stay there out of stubbornness?
Right, yeah, you do. Because people were gluing themselves to the roads, weren't they? Did you see that?
Yeah, I glue themselves to the road.
And then I seen a video on I can't remember if it was like TikTok or something. These guys, they glued themselves to the road in France, and the police came along and just picked them up and tore their hands off the road. They didn't give a. They were fine. And you can see these people just crawl on the floor, just going, their hands like bleeding. Oh shit, the hands bleeding and stuff because they just had their hands pulled off. I was just like, fair play. The French don't fuck around. It's like, get off.
Get off.
But fair play.
Sacre bleu.
You emptied it fruit of water.
Yeah. Problem is, mate, do you know what? Because obviously I live in the middle of nowhere, I don't actually see any protests. At all. Ever.
No, I don't really see it. I don't see them. I suppose they're around Bristol. Do you know what I'm trying to think what... I suppose they're like... Yeah. The locals up around you aren't the sharpest tools, are they?
Oh no, they are quite inbred. Well, we can't say much, can we?
No, can't say much from the countryside. No, we can't really say much. I think they're just a little bit different up there, different breed. The North Welsh people don't like us anyway.
They're more Scousers than anything.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they don't even sound Welsh. Well, they don't sound Welsh. They sound Scouser.
I thought that when I went up there, because Because you're like, are you still near? I don't want to give too much away. Near Riddle? Is it Riddle? I can't remember how you pronounce it.
Yeah. So I'm not far from Real. Obviously, I don't live in
Real,
Real, but
that's it.
close to it.
Right. Because that's like quite far. Because obviously I've been to Conway and stuff. That's further over, isn't it? That's like more west.
Yeah.
I think the more west you go, the more Welsh that they get that tends to come back.
Like, you go to Gwynedd.
Yeah.
I can't understand the word at all from people from Gwynedd. They literally speak, not that, I mean, they speak in English, not Welsh, and I just can't understand them. They literally, they mumble, they're terrible mumblers. They go.
It's like the farmer off of Hot Fuzz.
Oh, but it literally is like that.
He said it was.
Like,
It's my bush or something, cutting his bush or something. And then I love that film because they go into the shed and he's just got all sorts of guns and stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it's like. That is what it's like sometimes when you go to different parts of the world, different parts of the country. Thick of Wales, they just kind of, like you say, that it's not. It is like a mumble, but it's not. It's just obviously a really difficult language accent to understand, so it just kind of comes across as mumbling.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, and some people say their address. I'm like, you could have literally told me you hated me, and I would have just accepted it.
Yeah. For all I know, you just put a curse on my house and my family.
Yeah, that's my family, and I just greeted you. Come on in.
Mad. Yeah, we kind of.
What's Rosa said? Has Rosa said anything?
Nah, she hasn't said anything.
Oh, she bores me.
Yeah.
So, what I want to talk about as well is how, when a series comes out and say like Lord of the Rings or The Boys or Halo, how close do you want it to the source material, or even The Last of Us? Obviously, there's The Last of Us TV show coming out. How do you want stories that are exactly the same with the games, or do you want it to differentiate itself and just have key moments?
So I know that the HBO series of The Last of Us, they're doing between games, I believe, or it's supposed to be some of the first game, but it's supposed to be some of after it. I'd rather they didn't do the games because so like I'm trying to think of films that have been adapted to film, games that have been adapted to film.
Little shit. They're not shit my garden. I was taking a piss. Little bastard.
Just throw a knife at it.
Mate. Wandering off. It's just marking his territory. Sorry, Chad.
I was just trying to think of films that have been adapted from game to games that have been adapted to film. And the only one, so the one I thought wasn't bad, and it was the first one, was Silent Hill. I thought that was pretty good because they kind of used the concepts of the game, but they kind of did their own sort of version of it because it's still the woman. I can't remember what her name is. Anyway, and it's still the.
Was it a man in the first game? Or am I thinking of the second one?
Fuck no.
Oh,
no, you're right. It was a man. Yeah, it was a man because you were going to find your daughter and because you were driving along. But I thought that was kind of wasn't about a terrible film. I thought the original Resident Evils, I think that they were okay, and then it started getting a bit silly. Like the first Resident Evil, I thought was really good, even though it didn't really make sense to me because I didn't know much about it until I played the games. But
well, first one is Mila Djokovic's character is completely original. She's not in the games at all.
Yeah.
So, in one sense, I'm a bit like you. Like I want it to be familiar but different. God, that's a bloody oxymoron, isn't it? So you want the sort of same world.
Yeah.
And you want key events.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I don't want to see what I've already played.
Yeah. You want the foundations that the game made the game good, and then in a film. Yeah. So I think there are some films that did it well. I think there's some films that did it terribly. I hope that the HBO series is Last of Us is going to be alright. Should be, I would have thought. I quite like the actor that they got playing as Joel.
Admittedly, I've not seen the cast.
I do. I'm glad that they don't try and do because I mean there's some games that are like ridiculously out there. Have they ever done a Final Fantasy film?
Yeah, they did. Final Fantasy. It was a CGI film. What was it called?
Oh no, I know what you're about now. Yes.
It was a CGI film. What was it called? I can't remember what it's called, but they did. But the thing is that you can get away with that with Final Fantasy because each game is set in a different universe.
Yeah. So I'm just Googling.
So, Spirits Within.
Oh, right, that's it. Yeah, I just went then.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
It just came to me. So yeah, so with things like Final Fantasy, you can make a film up and it wouldn't matter too much, I reckon. But whereas a game or a film like, say, well, I'm going to use Halo
right
as an example, where basically, I mean, again, I've not seen it, but I've heard that Master Chief isn't Master Chief.
What, the actual Master Chief from the games, or?
No. So like, how Master Chief never shows his face. He's very, very sort of confident, and doesn't let things. Well, he thinks about his colleagues and his other soldiers. Whereas I think in the TV series, he's very much sort of questioning everything and unsure of his actual self.
Right.
So it's quite a bit different for the character in the video games.
Oh, right, okay. So diehard fans wouldn't like it then, basically.
No, I've not seen it, but I know diehard fans don't. They hate it.
That's fair enough.
But it doesn't. And I think they've not even got to a Halo ring in it, which is a bit weird.
Oh. Sorry, I can see the chat now. Yeah, I like as I said, I've never played the game, so I couldn't tell you. I haven't seen the series either because it didn't really interest me, to be honest. But I have heard a lot of mixed reviews about it. A lot of people saying that it's not the best. I don't know. I think it's a very hard thing for someone to do, a game, because especially if it's a really popular game, it's going to be very hard to please the people that are diehard fans. Like Star Wars, if they did when they do a Star Wars game, people are really critical about it because they're such diehard fans of the films. So it's obviously a lot harder. I mean, especially EA doing the fucking games, but yeah, I think EA just did the games because it was like, oh, it's money making. But actually, what's the most recent one that came out? It's supposed to be actually really good, but I haven't played it.
With the ginger, all I know is he's ginger, isn't he? The Jedi.
Something Jedi.
Fallen Jedi. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, it's something like that. It's got Jedi in it. I know that much. But it's actually supposed to be a pretty good game. But like I said, I haven't played it because I'm not really a fan of it anyway. But
I'm not a massive Star Wars fan. I think it depends. So obviously with the Rings of Power coming out, one of the things I think they have to be very, very careful of is when Tolkien wrote the books, he wrote things very specifically. Have you ever read The Lord of the Rings?
No, I don't read.
No, you don't read.
I don't read.
But, yeah,
why don't
you don't read? Why won't you read?
Yeah, no, I've never.
Tolkien's very, very particular when, I mean, not just in The Lord of the Rings. He's done appendices and he's done a lot of sort of unpublished work.
Yeah.
But it's very methodical in that it says, oh, in this year this happened, in this year this happened, in this year this happened, in this region of Middle Earth this is blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
He's very, very methodical and is very well. Well, basically, it is a whole universe. So, with the Ring of Power, what I say worries me is, I think because when it's set during the fall of Numenor, isn't it? I think it is.
Is it after Lord of the Rings?
No, before.
Before, between Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, sort of, or is it before?
No. So it's set set during the Second Age.
Right, okay, so about 1,000 years before then.
I think it's slightly more than that. I think it's a bit more.
I thought the end of the Second Age was the when they kind of defeated Sauron first time round.
Well, I think this is... Yes, that's when they defeated Sauron. But I think, like I said, this is the problem with the Second Age. Second Age doesn't do just like the end of it. The actual, from my understanding, is Sauron, because he's a being that's he basically doesn't age. He's immortal.
Mm-hmm.
He actually comes down to Middle Earth as like a normal man. Well, I say in human form. He comes down in human form, and then he corrupts people. But he doesn't do it in like a year. He does it obviously over the age. And this is the problem with, I think, the time that the Rings of Power, and that you can't do the events because events are over thousands of years.
Yeah.
They don't want to be changing the cast every season.
A couple of episodes or something, yeah.
A couple of episodes, because obviously they'd have to. Because obviously you want your actors to stay for however long, isn't it, to kill them off or they leave.
Yeah.
So basically, when the TV series comes, it's going to compress a lot of history into a very short amount of time, in the sense of full time in the show. So rather things lasting hundreds of years, it's going to last like a year, say a year in the show or whatever.
Yeah, because there's always that thing in there about the Lord of the Rings trilogy that they did. It doesn't really bring across the concept of those 3 films were over like 10, 15 years, something like that.
Something like that. Well, do you know when Frodo, obviously when Bilbo has his 111th birthday, and between him having his birthday and then actually, and it was Frodo's 33rd, was it his 33rd birthday? I can't remember. But between that and when he actually finally leaves the Shire was 17 years.
Jesus.
Yeah, but in the films, obviously because you can't have Frodo doing nothing for 17 years in the film, you just can't convey that.
Yeah.
So in the film, what happens, it's like, it's the next day Gandalf.
Because Gandalf says he's going to go away for a bit, doesn't he? And you think, he's just popped away for like a couple of days or something. But actually it's 17 years. Because he wanted Frodo to grow up a bit, I guess.
Well, yeah, but in the book, he also hunts down Gollum with Aragorn.
Oh, right, okay.
To find... That's what he does. He actually hunts down Gollum to get information about... if the Dark Lord, obviously Sauron, knows about the Lord of the Rings and all this information.
Have you seen them talking about Golem? Have you seen the game that they're bringing out?
It's more of a stealth game, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's supposed to explain the whole story of Gollum and his play and things, because he's actually he's a bit more significant than people think he is to the whole story, I guess. He plays a bigger role in it all, doesn't he, really?
I mean, he does. He does play a massive role. Again, in the films, it's often applied that they didn't know that Gollum was following them, but Gandalf knew quite early on that they were being followed by him.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few differences. Like in the Battle of Helm's Deep, the elves didn't appear in the books. So they didn't appear at all. It was just men defending Helm's Deep.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that bit's completely different to the book.
Oh.
One of the things, another bit that's completely different is, do you know when Frodo's been stabbed by the blade? The Morgoth blade. Is it Morgoth blade?
That's it. Yeah. But I can't remember what they're called.
And I can't remember her name now.
Well, the elf queen.
Elf woman. Again, she doesn't save them. In the book, it's a different character.
Oh. Oops.
But yeah, Peter Jackson chose it because he wanted more. He basically wanted to have that relationship with Aragorn. Right. I can't believe it. Arwen, is it Arwen?
Arwen's the one that he falls in love with.
Yeah, Arwen. So Arwen saves him, but it's a completely different character that saves him. from the
I'm trying to figure who saves him. No one saves him, do they? I can't remember who. And they take him somewhere, don't they?
It's on horse, and then she takes him to Riverdale, and she summons the water horse things with the river.
Yeah, I know you're on about. I can't remember what it is. I can't remember. I haven't watched this film. I'm gonna have to watch these films again. I can't remember.
But yeah, so like I said, things like that, Peter Jackson had to change to make it maybe a more engaging story.
Yeah.
Or he could have done the books and kept it. But the problem is, if he kept the books, each film would be like 20 hours long.
I mean, I prefer, I prefer watching the extended versions as it is. But I mean, that's still 9 hours of your life. Well, a bit more than 9 hours of your life that you take away.
A bit more, about 12 in it.
I think, yeah, because I think the first one's 3 hours, the extended version, and then the second one's like 5 hours or something. I know I was watching 2 parts.
It's a lot. I can't remember how long they are, but they're bloody long films.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I don't think you do have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, because you have to appeal to a broader variety of people, whereas games don't. They kind of appeal to a certain person who likes that type of game, and that's it. Because I mean, imagine them trying to make like a God of War film or something.
Well, they keep trying to, don't they?
Yeah, but I just don't think they should, because they just haven't got anyone that can do, apart from the guy that acts as his voice, and he kind of looks like him except for he's black, which isn't a problem. But I mean, Kratos is. I suppose technically Kratos should be kind of black because he's Greek, but then he was stained by the white ashes of his family, wasn't he? So yeah, I don't know. I am interested. I don't mind them doing game adaptations, as long as they do it properly.
Do it properly. I think a good is The Boys. The Boys is really good, but that different. Again, I've never
a game.
Well, I don't have a game, but I know it has a comic, doesn't it? And then it's quite a bit different from the comics. I've not read the comics, but it's just from what I've seen online.
Right. Okay. Have you finished the series yet?
I have finished the series. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched it the other day. Finished it the other day. I was kind of a little bit disappointed, to be honest. I thought it was going to be like some big bust up, but
yeah, it's not really about the fights, though, is it? That's one thing I've noticed about The Boys. It's not about the fights. It's more about the drama.
Yeah, it's just about like how Homelander's losing his mind slowly.
He is absolutely losing his mind. I said to Jodie, I just want to see him just go nuts.
Well, he did in the end, didn't he? I mean,
well, yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone that watches this, but when he just takes that guy's head off because he says something about fascist or something like that.
He's laser-eyed, doesn't he?
I was like, oh, jeez. When I seen that, I was just like, is this when he goes crazy and massacres everybody, or because it's coming? Let's be honest.
It's coming in, and that's what I mean. I can't wait for it when he just completely loses it and
just goes nuts, and there's like World War III. But
yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen. Surely it's gonna happen.
I was a bit disappointed with Soldier Boy as well. I thought he was going to work out a bit better than he did, but it was alright. And he won't.
I liked him. I liked
him. Yeah, even though he's like a bit of a crazy racist, I did quite like his character.
He was a bit racist, didn't it? But they didn't really do anything with that, did they? They kind of just went, "Oh."
Yeah. Okay. He's racist and old. Well, technically, he's like what, 78 years old or whatever it is. I can't remember what he said.
When he was having sex with the old grannies, I did laugh at that part. He's like, "Go get the lube. Get the lube."
Oh, there's some.
Did feel funny.
Do you know what I found funny? And I think it was the first episode. It's that little guy when he shrinks down and he goes into that guy's dick and then just blows up. I was like, Jesus Christ. Oh, that was great.
Yeah, they did. There was some creative depths in it.
And then obviously he tries to get I can't remember what his name is, the medic guy, the black guy. He tries to go up his ass, or something, and he's like, "Don't let him go." Was it him or was it Frenchie? Anyway, one of them's
No,
like,
it was Frenchie, when Frenchie and Kamiko went into the room.
oh, that's it. He said, "Don't let him up my ass. He's trying to get up my ass."
They don't let him have my ass, or they don't let him have my ass.
I like Frenchie as a character. I think Frenchie's a good character in it. I think he's a...
I like Frenchie. I do like the boys. I think they're all good. Frenchie, Mother's Milk, Huey, Butcher.
Yeah, no, they're good. Be interesting to see the next season because they're kind of like, well, apart from, well, no, I suppose the Deep is still in it, and what's his name's got his speed back.
Every scene with the Deep, I can't deal with them.
What, and he's shagging the octopus. His wife leaves him for the octopus.
I just can't deal with that part.
It doesn't. The thing is, if it happened once, I'd be like, okay, fair, that's pretty funny. But it happens quite a few times, you know. Oh, for God's sake! Like when he busts into that sex party and he's just sitting there, he's just getting sucked off with his octopus. Like, for fuck's sake.
Or it was when the dolphin dies in like season 1. He was just going to toss off the dolphin before it died. Before it went through the windscreen of the truck. It's so weird.
It's funny though. It is funny. Yeah. I don't know. I'll see. I try to think what else there is that they're doing. Adaptations.
There must be some. There's always load in the works. Have you seen the new Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City?
No. Have you seen?
Biggest of shit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that's disappointing.
It's the worst film of whenever it got released. 2020. This year, did it get released?
Yeah, it was this year, but the series was this year. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen the TV series. The series gets. This is the film.
Oh right, okay. What was the last film that she did?
No. So this isn't. This is completely. It's like a reboot.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the same thing then. Maybe it's not a series I'm thinking of. Is it Netflix?
No, they are making a TV series. So they're making a TV series, and they released a film without Mila Kunis. No, what's her name?
Mila Jovovich.
Not Mila Kunis. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I remember what you're talking about now. I haven't seen it because.
Mate, don't waste your time. It's 2 hours. I'm not going to get back.
Oh, is it that bad? Is it?
It is horrendous. It's boring. It's bad CGI. Leon, they got Leon Kennedy in it. They make him a little bitch. It's rubbish. It is rubbish.
That's a shame.
From start to finish, it's don't watch it. Anyone out there, don't watch it.
Don't watch it. From Dan, film critic. Film critic.
Film critic. It's atrocious.
What did I seen something on my phone saying that they were at. Oh, there it is. Resident Evil was a muddled zombie video game adaptation that we didn't need.
Oh, is that the TV series though, or
that's the film? Yeah, they're on about the film.
Oh, we don't need it. You don't need to watch it.
Okay, I'll avoid that one. Have you seen any of the images from the new telescope that's gone up?
From the new what? Sorry.
The new telescope, the John whatever it is.
The John Webb.
Yeah, John Webb telescope. That's it.
John Webb, mate, absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
Some of the definition is insane.
Because they showed what's the other one that's up? The Hubble. They showed a picture from the Hubble, and it looks alright. And then they showed the John Webb version, and it was insane. It was the nebula somewhere. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, fair play. I love science. We'll talk about space stuff next time. But
it's just all the definition. We'll talk about it because they released photos of like Jupiter and stuff as well, haven't they? And
have they?
They've done so many different. It's going to be amazing. Some of the pictures are absolutely insane.
They've what was it? I did see something that I talk about now because it just come into my mind. They did see there was like a guy who was saying if you had a grain of sand on the end of your finger and you held it out at arm's width.
Yeah.
They've just taken a picture of that, which shows the very, very start of the Big Bang.
Yeah.
Which is I can't wait to like look.
Some of the galaxies were like 13 billion. Well, basically the beginning of the universe, 13 billion years old and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Made insane. Absolutely insane.
The picture of the nebula. Someone said the picture of the nebula. They said that happened when the Romans were conquering England.
Okay.
That's how long ago it was. That nebula took place back then, but we're just seeing it now because obviously time travel. But yeah, no, I'm interested to see. We should try and get Professor Brian Cox on.
Yeah, innit?
Do you want to do a
Get him on
podcast?
there.
That'll boost our viewings.
There you go. I'm really down the road from Manchester. I'll steal him for us.
I don't think he's in the UK anymore, is he?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not. He's probably gallivanting around doing BBC documentaries.
I know he's had a lot to do with the collider thing, hydrogen collider.
I know what you're on about.
Up in Norway, is it? And up around there.
Well, it goes down a couple of countries, if I remember right. It's not just one country. It goes through quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah, I know he's been. Well, I don't know if he is at the moment dealing with it now, but I know he was. Hydrogen collider. Thank you, Rosa. Yes, I got it right in the end. Thank you.
Yeah. Must be correct.
I know. Nice. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else springs to your mind?
Nothing else comes to my mind at the moment. I suppose we'll talk about something again.
Yeah. I think Saturday we should do a space one.
Space. We want to talk about space.
We'll talk about space. Yeah, we'll
talk about space.
Let's talk about space, maybe.
Let's talk about you and me.
I have to do my research now. Make sure I'm.
I'll have to now.
Make sure I'm correct on what I'm saying, because.
Not just Google something in 5 minutes.
Space is very, very vast. I'll have to watch me space films. I got the week off, so I'll sit down and watch Netflix and watch Gravity and stuff like that. Interstellar.
I would say Interstellar, yeah, the ones that first come to my mind.
Mars and all that sort of stuff. Cool. Well, right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Whoever joined, thank you, Rosa, for being our little guest on the side. Guest on the side.
Thank you, Rosa.
And we'll speak to you all very, very soon.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah. Ended.
No, not yet. No, it's still low.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Watch the video. Don't be binges. Do it. Bye.